Yes.
And you are the president of
of
Capital City
Beekeepers.
Beekeeper, and this is his helper, Dan the Bee Man. And this is our family night.
Great, great. Glad you all came, and I see you have a lot of bee stuff hanging up, and some posters and things you guys been working on this week. Usually you have a quiz at the end of the class, but we're gonna have a quiz in the beginning. Are the honeybees native to the United States? Do they start off in the United States?
She says no.
No. Okay.
Is that a yes or no?
She's a fool. Eliza said no.
So no. Okay. What are the three basic bees in the hive? There's three types of bees in each hive. Anybody know?
He just told me.
Honeybee?
But there's three different honeybees. What kind? Yeah.
Queen. Queen bee.
Anybody got three different types we're going to be talking about today?
And a drone.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Miss
Queen worker and
Jane.
drone.
Queen, worker, and drone. Absolutely, that's great. Okay. The bees make honey, but what other products do you have that come from the beehive? Does anybody know? What else can you get out of the beehive besides honey?
Can you say it louder, Jacob, so
I
he
said
can
it.
hear
She
you?
said
You can't say
She said wax.
You can't say wax?
Stop. Or you can say
Wax.
Is that one?
Okay, that's one of them. Anybody else
You said beside honey, right?
besides honey?
I thought peace.
Okay. Number one, bees did not come from the United States. They came from Asia, Europe, Africa. They came from other countries, and they came over to the United States years ago. They're found in every place in the United States except the Antarctica. Okay, so they're found in countries 5000 BC. Okay, so back by the pyramids, the bees were around. Okay, and it's also they found honey inside the pyramids, and the honey was still good, so it doesn't get bad. Okay, three types of bees. We already found that answer: workers, drones, and queen bees. Okay, those are the three types of bees. Also, the different types of products that come out of the hive besides honey is wax. Okay, you have a lot of wax. Candles, the wax that you can make candles out of. You can make soap out of it. You can make lip balm out of it. You can have propolis they can use for medicinal purposes. And pollen, people are allergic to, they can take some hot pollen. They sell in the stores. I don't have any here tonight, but you can use pollen. Okay. Now, so there's a lot of different products you can get out of the beehive besides just honey. Now we're going to talk about the three types of bees. Okay. We have a drone, which is a really big bee. It's the biggest bee basically in the hive. It does not have a stinger. Okay, and we have a queen bee, which is long but short wings. Okay, and then we have a worker bee. Now, the queen bee, there's only one queen bee in the hive. You can't have more than one. If there's more than one, they'll fight till one dies, and then the other one will take over the hive. So and they can lay 2,000 to 3,000 bee eggs in a hive, and she's the only one that keeps that hive going, because without her, there's nobody making new bees, and the hive will die because you don't have any new bees. Okay, the drone, there's one job that they have. The queen bee, when they get out, when they hatch out, she'll fly up in the air, and the drone will go up there and mate with her, and then she'll come down so she can lay eggs and have bees. Then the drone dies after she is mated with the queen bee. So that's the only job that the drone has. It doesn't go out and get flowers and nectar or anything else. There's worker bees. The reason they're called worker bees because they do all the work. The worker bee, they make the comb. They go out and get the nectar. Okay, they help clean up the hive, and they put the wax in the hive and the honey, and they make the honey. So the worker does a lot of things, and the worker does this like they'll start off with doing one job, just like around the house you may have a job, then they do another job in a couple of weeks, and then another job, another week, and another job. Bees only live about 45 days. Okay, and then they die because they go out and they use all the wings, and they can go up to 5 miles hitting all the flowers. Now, one of the most important parts the bee does is pollination. Without bees, you don't have any almonds. Everybody like almonds? The almond trees, that bee is the only one that pollinates the almond trees in California. And without that, you don't have any almonds. You may not have any pumpkins. Pumpkins, you've got flowers, and they go and they pollinate the flower there. Okay, you got blueberries, you got cranberries, you got a lot of vegetables that they go from flower to flower, and as they go, they get pollen all over their bodies, and then they drop it off when they go to the next flower, and then that creates the vegetables and that you eat and everything else. There are some other pollinators like butterflies and some other kind of bees, bumblebees, but the honeybee does a great job on doing pollination. I'll pass this around. This kind of shows you the different parts. You can just kind of look at it and pass it around. Different parts of a bee, and that. Now, the honeybee has to make these combs, okay? And this is one of the combs that I pulled off the hive. Okay, they make this wax, and they have a 6-sided comb because it's easier for them to fill this up with honey, and they get the most juices out of that size of comb. Okay, so you can get this, and it's still sticky, and you can even see it's they started putting honey in there. Okay. This here, they're gathering food. This is a picture of them gathering the food. And you see all this yellow stuff all over them? That's pollen. That's what gets them all over their bodies as they go to the flowers. And they have little pollen sacs. You see that little thing that's on their leg? It's full. They fill that up with pollen. And when they go back to the hive, they'll take this pollen and they'll fill up some of these little holes here. And with pollen, because they use that to feed other bees and new bees and the queen and everything. That they use that as feed. It's part of their food to grow more bees. Okay. Here they share food. In order to make honey, they'll take the nectar and they'll spit it in the mouth of the other one. It'll go down to the honey stomach. You'll see on that little thing they have a honey stomach on there, and then it creates honey in the stomach, and then they spit it out into one of these, and they fill up this. Okay, and so that's this a picture of them making honey by using the mouth. Okay. Now, in order for it to make good honey, it has to be dried out. It can't be 20% moisture. It's got to be less than 20% moisture. So they take their wings, and they keep fanning it. They keep moving their wings, and they dry it out, the honey. It's like you got a fan at home, and it dries the honey out. Also, in the wintertime, they move their wings to keep warm. The hive, if it's 10 degrees outside, the hive will be 85 degrees warm because they keep the hive warm by moving their wings. Okay, so it's real important that they do that. Okay, we talked about the queen bee. You see the bee right in the middle? This right here is a queen bee. See how long it is and the short wings? Okay, that's a great picture of a queen bee. And you got all these workers. They surround the queen bee and they protect that queen bee. So that queen bee is the most important person in that the bee in that hive. Okay, so you can see the picture of it, and it's really neat to have a queen bee. Okay, now this is a queen laying eggs, but you can see the queen bee. They got a red dot. Now, how they get that red dot on the back? Anybody know? I've got like a little magic marker here. Okay? Sometimes when we see the queen bee, we'll capture that and we put a little dot on the back of it. We can see with that little red dot, if we're looking for a queen bee, there's going to be 40,000 bees in the hive. So it's hard to find a queen bee sometimes if you don't know if you can't see her. So this makes it easy for the beekeeper to go in a hive and see if they have a queen and find that queen. Make sure that the queen's doing a good job. Okay, so that's why you have a queen bee without the dot and you have one with the dot, because the beekeeper went ahead and marked this queen bee with the dot. Okay, this is an example of a bee. Once she lays an egg, they start off and they have like a little larva, and it starts growing like a little circle. Then it gets up here, and then it gets the eyes, and it forms the body. And within 21 days, the new bee hatches out. Okay, it takes about 23 days for a queen, 16 days for a drone, and 21 days for a regular bee. Okay, so it doesn't take long for them to hatch out to have a bee, but it shows the different stages of them hatching out. Okay, now the queen is longer and bigger. This is the queen egg. The queen egg is really long and big, and you can see if you got queens in your hive, and you're waiting for her to hatch out. Okay, so the queen cell looks bigger than all the other cells, so you know if you have a queen being made. Okay, and the bees either will make a queen because they don't have one, it's died, it flew away. Sometimes it goes up in the air and a big bird comes by and eats it. So they have to make another queen. So that's how they do it, and that's what the shit looks like. Okay. Drone. This is the young drone, and it's got big eyes. Usually the drone has real big eyes. It's a real big bee, furry bee, and you can see, and it does not have a stinger, so you can handle it and everything else. But the drone does, you can tell it's a big bee. The worker bees are a little bit smaller, real small bees. They're fast. Okay. Again, a drone doesn't last that long. In the wintertime, you'll find the drones like this from right now till the next 2 months, all the bees are kicking the drones out of the hive. And the reason they're doing that is because they don't need the drones in the wintertime. And the drone, the only thing they'll do is eat all the honey. And the bees need food in the wintertime, so they don't want the drones to eat all the honey. So they kick them out. So you'll look in the front of the hive, you'll see some drones, dead drones on the ground, because they're not needed in the hive. Okay. Now in the springtime, there'll be sometimes this will get so full, so many bees, and they need space. So what they'll do, they'll start looking for another place. So you have a swarm. Sometimes you have a swarm in a tree. And we came over to Lawrenceburg Last year, somebody called us and had a swarm in a swing set underneath a child's swing, and we bought a box, and the queen's in there. We knocked it off into the box, shut the box, took it home and put it in one of these, and now it's doing really well. It's got another 30,000 bees in it just because it's a swarm that we caught, and we got that into a beehive. So we look for it, and it's usually about May and June was when you see swarm season. And if you look around, you'll see a bunch of bees in a tree, one together. They won't hurt you. There's a queen bee there, but they're looking for a home. Okay. And this is Dan, the bee man. It says bees and the man. This is the beekeeper working the beehive, and this is what we do. And we're going to start showing you some things here. I want to give you a big background on bees, and but this is what they do, and this is where they live at on these combs. Okay, so. Now, anybody got any questions about the actual bees in the hive? Anything? Okay. Now, we're going to talk about the beekeeper. That's me and Dan. We got to take care of these bees. We got to make honey. We got to do some things. Okay? So, we got a lot of stuff out here. And one of the things, when we open up this hive, bees start flying all around. Well, we've got a bee suit that we put on, and it has, you want to try it in and put it on? And then we have these gloves. Now, if anybody wants to put it, it's a children's shirt, jacket. Anybody want to put it on? Okay. Go ahead. You try to, both of you, but yeah, well, you get next, okay? Okay. Now, you got it's just like a jacket. Got your arms put in. Okay. Okay. And then you got this here. Now the bees won't get them, but you got to make sure it's zipped up. Because if you don't zip this up, you find just a little bitty hole. Guess what that bee finds? That hole. It will get in there. See that? Can you see?
Yep.
There you go.
Thomas, look at Miss Sherry.
Look at Dan. He's having trouble getting his on. He does a good job.
The bees are going to get me.
Yeah. Okay. Let's try it. And there's some. There you go.
Was that fine, Thomas?
Jacket.
You can be next.
Good job, Thomas.
Okay. There we go. Good.
You help.
He's got it now.
You want to try it one more time? You want to try it?
Samantha, you want to try it one more time?
I'll hold it up and you put it on.
Okay.
It's hard to hold up and put on at the same time.
All right, put your arms in. Arm in. No,
There you
right
go.
here. There you go.
Right there, just like
Now.
a jacket.
Yeah, now put this arm up.
Right there.
There you go.
There we go. Now we got a little big man.
Sherry, look at that.
Look at this. Turn around. They want to take some pictures of this.
Give me your.
Look at Miss Sherry.
One more time. Oh, Jag got it. You're so cute. You're a beekeeper.
Hey, what do you say? Say thank you. Now.
And we also have special gloves.
Thomas,
Gotta
did.
put these
Thomas
on.
here.
Oh, I want to wear a special glove.
There you go. Now, you can go hunting bees instead of hunting bears.
There you go.
Go on
Well,
a bee
if you
hunt.
find the bear, you might find the honey.
Uh-huh. You know bears like honey.
Okay, so the first thing we do when we go into the hive, we got to make sure we have a suit on so we can protect ourselves so we don't get stung. Then we take this smoker. Anybody hear about smoker?
Yeah.
Okay. We got some burlap in here. We got some
Wow,
pine
Wayne.
needles. We got a little cotton. Anything that will cause smoke.
Behave.
And what we do, when we open up that lid,
I think I started it.
we start smoking the hive because the bees will calm them down. They'll go down into their hive, they'll start eating some of their honey, they'll calm, they won't be flying around and they're getting on us and everything else. So it makes our job a little bit easier to go through the hive, okay? Then,
So if you use the smoker, do you take the lid off first, or is
well,
there
we
a
open up the
hose?
lid and then we start smoking inside.
Oh, okay.
You'll see a bunch of bees on the top. Sometimes you'll see them in the front, and you'll start smoking a little bit in front so they don't come out and everything. So smoker. Then we're trying to. Sometimes they stick propolis, they glue it together. We got to pry it open with this here tool here. Then what you do is we take this and we lift it up and it holds it. And that way the bees are there. We can look at the bees and see the queen and see the different hives, okay? Now, to show you the way it starts, this will hold 10 frames. The bottom will hold 10 frames. Now, it starts off, we don't have anything. And then we put the foundation in, which is plasticels. And that's like this here. And it's the shape of the bee comb, okay? Because it gives them a starting point. It shows it's like a diagram of how they're going to put the comb. And what they do, they'll take that and they'll come in and they'll fill it and they'll end up making comb. Okay, this is real wax and that's plasticel, but they'll make comb on. See, it comes out and it makes it a little bit about that far out. Okay, then the queen can start laying eggs, and they can start putting propolis in there, pollen, and then they can start laying. So, see that? This is the plasticel, and they've made this, and there's some little pollen in here, a little bit of honey little honey in there, a little glycerin. So that's what they'll do is they'll make the comb. Okay. Then once they get the comb in there,
Oh.
look at this. They make honey. Then they fill with honey, and it's real sticky. And then this is what we put in our extractor, and we'll put this in, and we'll spin it around. And it'll come down, and it'll come out, and then go through a couple filters, and then we'll put it in the bottles, and that's how you get your honey. Okay? Now, see it's white? That's wax. What they do, I told you they have to have a moisture content of less than 18%. If it's more than 20%, they leave it blank, they don't cap it. Once it's dried out, then they start putting this wax and they seal the whole thing with wax. See, they got the wax on here. And so they'll go ahead and they'll make a wax, they seal it. Okay, then you know the honey's ready. If it's not sealed, we can't take it because it's too much moisture in there, and it'll ferment. In about 4 weeks, it'll ferment and will not be very good honey. Now, the way we decide on is it ready, when we extract it, we have a little instrument here. We put a little honey on there and look through it, and it'll say 20%, 18%, to tell us what percent the moisture content is.
Really?
And then we know it's ready to bottle. Okay, so this little machine is really handy when you're trying to see whether the honey's ready in order to the bottle the honey. Okay? If we lose a queen, or we don't have a queen, or you get a new package of bees, queens come in a little container. Okay? This is a little queen box. Okay? And the queen will come in here. If we don't make, they don't make one, we have to buy one. they'll send us, we'll get this date in and frank it. And the queen will be in here, and there'll be like 2 or 3 attendants, small bees on there, worker bees, and they will make a company. And there's candy here. In order for that queen to get out in the hive, we'll take this little side, the cork out with the candy, and bees will eat through the honey, through the candy on this side. And once they make a hole big enough to release her, and what they're doing, they're getting used to her pheromone. They're trying to get used to her as a queen for that hive. So if they know that she belongs in that hive, they won't kill her. So, and then there's a cork on the other end. In case they don't eat all the candy, we can pour it out and release it ourselves. But this is what a queen cage is and how they come. If you don't have a queen, you get to buy one. Okay? So, this is so we can light our smoker. We need this here. This is fire to light the smoker. And if the bees are on there, we need to get the bees off. We brush them off with a nice little brush. It's easy on them, and we can brush this off. And if we want to mark our queen, this is a little thing. We catch the queen in here, and there's little holes, and we take that magic marker and mark the queen. Okay, so this is like a little queen marker. Anybody know what cinnamon's for? Toast? Honey and toast is cinnamon toast. No, sometimes you have ants crawling around the top of the hive inside. You put a little cinnamon around the top, and it keeps the ants away. They don't like in the honeybees. They don't mind it, but it keeps ants away. So sometimes we have a I didn't bring it, but there's a board that covers the top called the inner cover, and you'll have some ants on top of it. We'll brush them off, put a little cinnamon on there, and it basically keeps them away and everything. So, but anyway, these are the tools that we use as a beekeeper. This here will have 10 frames, and the other one, the little bottom one, will have 10 frames. Now, what you can do is you can have the bottom one and the top ones for them. Then we start putting another one. You can put up 7 boxes on here, and they'll keep filling up with honey. And then so we can have as many boxes and that. But show you guys up close. See how much honey it is?
Can they touch
Yeah,
it?
touch it. Yeah.
Can I see?
Oh, it's your turn.
And if you push your hand in through there.
I want to lick it. I want to lick it so bad.
You don't want to lick it.
Yeah, you do.
Well, no,
It's honey.
per hive.
Can I
So if you
try
did
it?
7 boxes, it
You
would be
still
just
have
one.
one.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Can
what
I
I
lick
was.
it?
That tastes like honey?
Well, yeah, you can get a taste.
Yeah.
I want to lick it so bad, he said.
You can go out and hive and stick your fingers in there and stick your finger in there.
Is it good, Thomas?
That is good. Yeah.
It's a honey. Go see it.
Oh, she got a big.
Wait, Dad.
Leave it till I.
He got some too.
I wish I could have more. I wish I could have
You want to taste it, Raylan?
I'm just gonna.
Now some
Is it
people
right?
they
It's
chew
like
wax.
How many do y'all have?
Raylan, right?
Got about 12.
Raylan?
Put
We
your
got them in 2 different locations.
finger up here.
Hopefully that's what we'll end up with at the
Was
end
it
of the
good?
year.
Well, he was going to let you
Ooh,
taste
look
it,
at
and you
that
wouldn't
honey
take your
squeeze
finger.
out of there. Anybody in the back? Okay.
She didn't want
There
to.
you go.
Okay. Yeah. Did you touch it? Yeah.
taste it.
Oh,
Okay, Eliza, come here.
No, I don't have any peanut butter.
so
Is it
this is,
good?
For toast.
So good.
yeah. So now you can see
Peanut butter and honey
by
sandwich.
putting honey,
I like honey.
It tastes like honey.
Really good.
I like
And not
honey.
sugar.
I like
I like honey in my coffee instead of sugar.
delicious honey.
Different kind of cottage cheese. I know, mine doesn't taste that good either.
you guys,
Really bad.
They all will, look at it.
we've got a little bit of honey up here. And
I like the free samples.
if anybody wanted to, good. Well,
He's all about the snacks.
you can
He said, you feed him, he will go home with you. Doesn't matter what he is.
get a little spoon here.
Is there a rule about the age you can eat for the
Well,
bacteria?
they don't
That is not
get it to babies, little kids.
They don't give it to babies?
Yeah, babies don't. These are probably.
Okay. Over what? Is it a bacteria that?
But now one thing is they use honey to put on wounds like cuts and scrapes as antibacterial to keep to develop the cuts, to heal them, and everything else. Yeah, oh yeah. And so anyway, they make dressings sometimes in hospitals made from honey and everything. If the parents will let you, you can. If you don't, then I've got these honey sticks that people can have afterwards. When you go home, parents can take one of these for you. And that. When we went to the state fair this year, honey came in third. Last year we got second, and so we have pretty good honey. The parents, if they want to get a recipe, we got some recipes up here for honey and everything else. And that. Ben, you got anything else to add here? Or, any other questions for?
Do we have any questions?